I need more time.
Alright, this is like my third take doing this. I'm really bad at doing voiceovers, so this is my Shaman Wyvern build guide overview thing. So, if you don't know who I am, I'm a dragon-obsessed Shyvana OTP. I play pretty much only RF in POE1. So naturally, I wanted a really tanky build that does mostly fire damage. Still kind of salty that Wyvern is mostly lightning-based. I think it's kind of stupid, but alas. So, I use the Alkaiser Wyvern leveling tree as a base. His Wyvern build is good, but it's mostly lightning focused, and I don't really like that. So I decided to go a more fire focused route with Flame Breath. I think he uses Oil Barrage. His leveling tree is really good though, so what I used, so use this and then you can swap to this like I did, or stay on his, like the lightning damage. The build does everything I want. It's really, really hard to kill. I have 35 deaths. Most of these are in the campaign. Rest are either to me trying to take a uber boss ability that is untankable, or doing like a really rippy close pit map and I wasn't paying attention. But I'm pretty much playing this while watching anime, YouTube, Twitch on the other monitor. You're pretty unkillable, designed to be that way. So hopefully that's like a appealing thing to you. You can't face tank Uber Arbiter Seed Explosions or the line thing, because I tried. The reason I wanted to go Wyvern is because it has a lot of good defensive nodes, which will help me do this like AFK-esque playstyle. Or not AFK, but just low reaction time. Because obviously I'm doing stuff on my other monitors. So I want something where I can just kind of go in, blast, not have to worry too much about my character dying and losing XP. I started a week late, so the economy was already kind of fucked, but it's been pretty good. I've been farming Amanamu abysses, closed pits to get Omens of Light, and that's how I made the majority of my currency. I haven't really been doing Temple, mostly because it kind of it's too much effort, and obviously from the build, that's not my thing, bro. So for the Ascendancy, you want to start out with Turning of the Seasons, but after you get Rakiatas, which inverts elemental resistance, the exposure applies first, so it actually will lower the damage you deal with Rakiatas because of how the inversion works. It basically just flips the resistance. So if you lower the resistance first, it flips the resulting number. You actually want to take this off. But before then, you can have this. It will give you extra damage. It's like 20 pen and 10% added as, which is pretty good for a first point. So you get this first, then get Reactive Growth, then get Sacred Flow, then get Wisdom of the Magi. And then once you get your Rakiatas, which I think now is fucking like absurd, it's like 100, like 50 div as of the time. It's probably a lot cheaper in Second Wind. Once you get that, take this off, get Avatar of Evolution. This gives you 15% base conversion and doubles your adaptations, which is 20% less damage taken of that elemental damage, which basically just helps you face tank pretty much everything. As you can see in the clips before this, Citadel Doryani, he does the the Flame Blast, Slam, and I just kind of sit there. And I had less ES than I do now because now I have 16k. Um, Oracle I think is way more damage, but it's gonna be like a completely different tree because of all the special Oracle nodes. Um, and also just less like AFK friendly because the primary defense of Oracle is just doing way more damage, so you'd have to like pay attention and make sure nothing on the screen hits you by killing everything first. Which, if you're playing the game like actively, is not a big deal because like you want to clear everything on the screen. But if you're doing something else, you can afford to get hit, and that's what the Shaman excels at. Um, if you want to do an Oracle build though, I recommend the one by Phalaris. It has a really good build. It looks like it cranks out a ton of damage. The main important thing for the gems though is this is a double weapon set build. As you can see, we use 20 points in each. Is enable weapon set 2, and the way you do this is you click here, click off. This will be enabled. You click this off, and then you make sure this is weapon set 2 for Flame Breath and Oil Barrage. And the reason we do this is because our weapon set 1 is mostly for clear, so we have AoE, AoE, AoE Splash. This is damage, but it's physical damage, which is mostly rend. Attack speed per enemy near us, and stuff like that. And then our single target is all of these nodes, these ailment nodes, which is shock, shield, and ignited. Flame breath will apply all these pretty consistently. Same with oil barrage. So this is like a really big amount of damage. And then we also take the shapeshift nodes, so gain 8% of damage here. Take all the bear nodes here. A lot more armor. And electrified claw. The armor actually matters because, as you can see, we have a pretty decent amount. We have 3,000. That's pretty much only from our boots. That's from this node right here, Iron Slippers, which gives us 3 armor per energy shield on our boots. This is giving us like 1,000 armor, which is pretty insane. Besides that, we want stun threshold, so we get this. We get it on our jewels here and here. And then we also get it on Heart of the Well. Now, my Heart of the Well is really good, as you can see. Double max extra as. You don't need one this good. Just get extra cold so you can chill a bit easier, and you're good to go. Just make sure you get the stun threshold. Really important because if you get stunned out of your flame breath, it's really annoying. So for the rest of the gems, we use 2 sets of rend. This is just attack speed, minion pact. I shamelessly stole this from Phalaris. Really good. It's basically just 35% free damage with no drawback because of the Brutus Brain tech. So this basically makes your wolves from Pounce invincible. And minion pact sacrifices your single digit of HP from these wolves whenever you auto attack. So it's just free damage. Just use it. Then we have armor break and armor explosion. This will just do the screen wide fire pops. Good. You can do the Herald of Ice thing if you want, but you'd have to rework the entire tree. Maybe using bitter. It's just a lot of annoying shit. And you're not doing mostly fire damage. So this is why I took it. Why I put everything on there. Fire damage good. I like fire damage. That's why this is fire damage. For weapons at 2, we're using Rigwalds to get more damage. This is our single target rend. We use these for tankier rares. Rarely though, because most of the time you just have enough damage with rend and Tribal Fury. If the rare is surrounded by ads, the splash will shotgun the rare and one-shot it. This is only for like rares that are like alone. Lunar Assault is our Batears and Innervate skill. I rarely use it because I have so much damage already, but when you have lower gear this will be noticeable. So you just have to like use it every like 20 or so seconds. Um, More often if you want the innervate damage because it's only 5, but it's really mostly for the Pateras. And you'll have like a lot of lightning damage from everywhere else, so this is not as big of a damage increase as the Pateras. Tears is going to be a fuck ton of damage. Our two single target skills are Flame Breath and Oil Barrage. Mostly Flame Breath. This has the Rockiatas. So this, you just generate your power charge with Pounce, and we do that with Culmination and A-list Chimes. So Culmination translated to a combo skill, and this gives us power charges when we expend combo. So I think the magic number is 8. So you want to auto attack 8 times, pounce, and then we'll mark them because we also have Mark of Siphoning. This is generic attack leech. So this will full sustain our mana and ES with the Soul Tether tech that I'll go over in a bit. But this basically just makes us invincible. You can tank whatever. But our main damage is Flame Breath. If you somehow get stunned out of it or the boss moves, because I'm on click to move, so my Flame Breath, it's kind of bugged. It's really difficult to move and cast. If you're on WASD, you can just follow them. I can't, so I have Oil Barrage as a backup, and this also does similar amounts of damage, even though the tooltip is way lower. And that's just because of how the shotgunning works. Temp Chains Blasphemy before Rockiatas, Temp Chains Ellie Week, just to shred the resistances. Before I was running Lingering Illusion to generate more power charges, but I kind of hated it. Most of the clips are using it still, but I just swapped to Berserk. I had life regen on a piece of gear anyways, and this is just a fuck ton of damage. Really good. I'll use Devour to generate power charges while mapping. Then Herald of Ash are good for clear. Elemental Conflux is just the next best damage aura. We get good value out of 2 out of the 3, Fire and Lightning. Cold, we lose a little bit of damage, but you can, if you want, you can get cold damage on your weapon and sort of like even out the curve, but I wouldn't personally recommend it, but it's an option if you just have like more reliable damage. But we get good value out of 2 of the 3 elemental conflux modes. Now, for the gear, we need the Soul Tether. So, as long as you remove the ES mod, it doesn't matter what mod you have, like the ES loss mod. So even if you lose life instead, it's still fine because you need life regen to sustain Berserk anyways. So as long as you have it, we'll be fine because you'll be regenning. Like in my case, I have 11 life regen, so I'm regenning 11 times my HP. So that is way more than 5% life loss, I think, at the maximum. And then like 5% from Berserk, so you'll be able to sustain it with that. I just have this one because I spent more. And it just gives me more ES recovery rate, which is nice. If you want to use Headhunter though, you can, but then you'd have to swap away from the leech. So you'd probably just drop leech on everything, drop fast metabolism, anoint, imbibe power or acceleration, and then probably get ES recharge on a lot of stuff instead. So during mapping, we're leeching with mostly fizz damage. So a fizz leech here, fizz leech here, mana, life respectively. So we get our extra fizz from the rend gem. Like in general, rend does mostly fizz, and then we do 8% of damage as extra fizz, and this is basically enough of our fizz to leech reliably. So for the weapon crafts, you can recom, percent and flat fizz, and then exalt the suffix with dextral exaltation, and then greater essence of flame, ice, lightning, abrasion, or whatever, to get the added damage mod and to lock all three prefixes. And then once you lock all three prefixes, you want to fill the suffixes with exalts, and then do a combination of perfect essence of haste, battle, and forced desecrated suffix with Aminamu, I'm pretty sure. And that will basically guarantee your suffixes because it can only knock off, when you use those, it can only knock off suffixes. So you'll just hot swap all the suffixes until you get all three of them on one weapon. You want to do battles last because they're the most expensive, but that's generally how you get a weapon like this. If you want to go the cheaper route, just get tier 2 flat fizz, find a tier 2 flat fizz base, essence of abrasion on tier 3 flat. You want to get tier 2% fizz, and then essence of abrasion tier 3 flat, and then do all the other steps. And then you'll get a weapon similar to this, just with lower fizz damage rolls. Chest is kind of annoying. You want to start with recom. This, I found a high quality base, so I ID'd it, and it was lightning res and E2, I think. Hybrid. I perfect exalted T1ES. And then I desecrated prefix. It had an open prefix, so I desecrated prefix. I managed to get T2, but this is not the way I'd craft this. What I would do is I would recombinate for percent and flat, and then once you do that, then desecrate on hybrid. And the reason you want to desecrate on hybrid or try to desecrate on hybrid is because if you whiff, you can also get spirit, and spirit will sell really well. And then exalt on your suffixes, and then create perfect essence of seeking to get crit damage reduction. And that will generally be more consistent. I just had this base drop, so I did what I could to try and use it. The boots, this is also something that you can do. As you can see, there's no desecrated mod on this because I got really lucky with this, but it's the same concept. Start with T1 flat, and then a res. So in my case, it was T5 lightning res, I think. So I essenced T3ES with the essence of enhancement, and then I double exalted fire res duration with the greater exaltation and dextral exaltation omens, and then we preserved rib. Then you should preserve rib and try to get the movement speed. But in my case, I did not use the dextral exaltation. I forgot to activate it. So instead of greater exalting two suffixes, I greater exalted a prefix and a suffix. So I happened to exalt on increased movement speed, which is basically what I was looking for. So that was really good. But it should be pretty deterministic. I think the farmer has a really good video on how to craft these deterministically. So you can go look at that. Gloves is easy craft. Start with flat fizz, attack speed. The base is the most expensive part. So for this, you essence of enhancement, the T3ES, as you can see here. You desecrate on a prefix, and then double exalt slam suffixes. If you get something like this, I hit T1ES. You don't need to hit T1ES, but if you do, very good. Helmet, same thing. So recom, 2-1 flat, 2-1%. Desecrate on prefix, triple exalt SAM suffixes. You want to either look for hybrid or +2 minion. If you get +2 minion, you sell the helmet and you buy whatever you need because it probably sells for more than this. And then for amulet, this is also pretty deterministic. You get flat ES and res magic base. You essence on the second res that you need. You desecrate on Urgle? I think it's Urgle. Pretty. Make sure. Yes. So you want to desecrate on a Kurgle using the Kurgle Omen. Get body armor, ES, and then Greater Exalt twice. Hope for good suffix, max ES. If you hit Spirit instead of max ES, you hit the fucking jackpot. You sell that for a fuck ton, and then you buy whatever amulet you need. The rings are really RNG. I sunk so much currency into these trying to craft them myself. Don't craft them yourself. You will save so many divines. I have this here. The farmer also has a good video, but it's pretty RNG. Just don't. Just buy them. Just buy them. So for the jewels, you want ES, stun, and nail and threshold, and then that's it. The last affix doesn't really matter. For the heroic tragedy, just get Verana. You're not clicking any of the other nodes. You're not an oracle. And then Heart of the Well, like I said before, get cold damage, get stun threshold. That's pretty much it. If you're planning on running this for second win, this is what I did. Everything's probably a lot cheaper and not fucked, so it'll cost you less. And hope you have a good time. Thanks for watching, guys.